I have another Trash to Treasure project for you today. Stay tuned and watch me turn this into this outdoor coffee table. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to wipe the pieces down with some 91% isopropyl alcohol. That simply takes off any oils from my fingers that might be on here, anything like that. And I am going to hold this by the edges. I'm not going to put it onto any kind of a handle this time. I love the design on the side of this. Now, and that's already dry. It dries that fast. Now, since this says Tropicana and it is carved into the lid basically, I need to cover that. And I thought about covering it with spackle, but I couldn't get that to stick. So I am going to take this piece of cardstock and Mod Podge it to the top. And that will, I'm hoping, disguise this enough. We're going to Mod Podge this all anyway. And this is just matte Mod Podge. But what I want to do is disguise that enough that my table doesn't say Tropicana through the textured paint I'm going to use. So let's get that there. And I left it a little bit bigger than my table on purpose. That way when I am done, I can go back and sand it smooth with the edge. I've got little bits in my Mod Podge. So I am going to continue to cover the sides of this. I'll put a coat of Mod Podge over the top. And when this is dry, I'll come back. I'll also do the sides of this. When I have this all dry, I'll come back and we'll go to the next step. All right, this had a couple of days to dry. Now, I did on one side have to go in with some tacky glue and glue this on because it's weird. The Mod Podge held it on parts of it, but not on all of it. Now, I'm taking a emery board and going down, and I'll probably, I think I'll be fine. I think my paint will stick to this anyway. We're not using plain paint for our first coat. And I'm just going to go around, and I'm going to smooth this edge where it's cut crooked. And I am going to make this look nice and neat. And when I get that accomplished, I'll come back, we'll mix some paint, and we'll get the first coat of paint on. All right, this is neatened up quite a bit, and now we're going to mix some paint. So I have just some cheap craft paint. This is only going to be our first coat. We are going to put multiple coats on here. And I'm going to just dump some in this little dish. I just wanted a gray. This happens to be Anita's in Rainy Day Gray. Hopefully I'll get enough mixed the first time through. Now this is just baking soda from the kitchen. This is the same way that we did the foundation on the Beachside Bungalow. I am mixing some baking soda into the craft paint to thicken it. Now, a couple of things. I've been doing this for years, and I've only had one project. I use this for both miniatures and home decor, regular crafting, everything. I've only had one item I had any problems with, and that was something that got wet accidentally. I had some candle holders I had coated in this, and a flower vase got knocked over, and they kind of got wet. And those got a bloom-looking appearance to them that I couldn't fix. As long as I am not going to get this wet or have it in a damp area, I'm comfortable using the baking soda. Also, I would not put this into something where it's going to be sealed into an airtight container, like in a framed scene that has no airflow. So this has now thickened the paint up. Put that off to the side. I can put that back in its container. And I'm going to do the sides. I got a little bit of that off. Now don't use your best paintbrush. Use kind of an old paintbrush for this, because this could ruin your paintbrush. It is hard on them. So I'm going to start with those inset areas. And I'm going to go around. I'm going to paint in all of these areas. And I'm going to use the top and the base to hold on to so that I don't get my fingers in the wet paint. So I will continue around this lid, which will be our tabletop, until I get all the way around. And once I have that done, I'll come back, we'll do the top, and then we'll work on the spool. All right, the outside edge is coated, and I did put it on a piece of wax paper just so that it won't stick to my tile, just in case this, because there is some on the bottom, it's just in case it decides to stick. Now make the top coat kind of smooth. Now we're going to take our spool, and this will stick better than just plain paint. Now we're going to take our spool. I've got this all over my fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and coat just the sides, the bottom rim. On this, I will cover my little container here of this just in case I want to do some touch-ups. I think I'll just slip that little bowl into a Ziploc sandwich bag and put it off to the side here. Let me get this as smooth as I can. Be sure and clean your brush right away, because this stuff does really ruin your brush if you don't clean it really quickly. So I'm going to go get cleaned up. I'm going to let this sit, and once everything is dry, I'll come back, we'll glue this together, and then we'll do some more kind of touch-up painting to give it some texture and the look that I want. So I'll be back when this dries. All right, I ended up letting this dry overnight, and there's still some spots where green shows, but I need to get the video done, so I'll do some touch-up after I glue it together, because this glue is going to take a while to dry. This paint took a long time to dry last night. It was dry still, or wet still, when I went to bed, and so that was several hours. I am going to turn this part upside down. I didn't bother to paint the inside. I'm not going to worry about that. You can if you want. I did do a second coat on the pedestal. Now the next thing I need to do is attach my spool into the bottom of this. And I need a glue that will hold plastic, that will hold non-porous surfaces. So this isn't a job that you're going to use your tacky glue or your PVA glue for. E6000 would work, Household Goop would work. I opened up my tube of E6000 thinking I was going to use it, and it was completely dried into a lump inside the sealed tube. So I grabbed this. This is Loctite Power Grab, all-purpose. It's a construction adhesive. It will hold ceramic tile, it will hold all kinds of non-porous surfaces, so I'm sure it will hold this. Now, if you want to be able to take this apart, you could use hot glue, and then you could take it apart to store it if you want to cut down on space. And for this, I'm going to use a lot, because I really want that to hold. Let me get this and kind of spread it in there. I really want this to hold, and it's not going to show because of the depth of the tabletop. Now this, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, this is a coffee table. It's about 1.5 inches tall, so it translates to about 18 inches, which is about the height of a coffee table in real life. So I'm going to push that in there. I'm going to let that dry completely, and when it's dry, I'll come back. We'll do some touch-up painting and some kind of sponge painting of other colors to make this look a little more realistic. So I'll be back when this dries. All right, my glue has had time to set up. Now this glue will take 24 to 48 hours to completely dry, but it's set enough for us to handle this a little bit after about 20-30 minutes. So I am going to, I didn't get that as even as I would have liked to, but that's okay. What I've done is I've got a makeup sponge. It's one of those cheapy wedge sponges you get in a big package. I usually buy them at the Dollar Tree or at Walmart or someplace like that. And I have some black acrylic paint, the same gray paint, and a white. And I'm going to just kind of dab this, kind of mix it a little bit roughly. I don't want any one color on my sponge. I want it to be a combination of all the colors. And I'm going to start down here. And I'm going to get and what this will do is it will, I'm going to work it so it doesn't have any, you're not seeing a distinction between the colors. And there's a spot I can actually see the green through. If I can still see the green through it when I'm done, I'll do a touch-up with the other paint. I think it'll be okay though. I'm not going to make you watch me do the whole thing. I'm going to do most of this off camera, but I wanted to show you how I get started. And when I get the sides done, I'll come back, I'll do the top. Actually, let me get the sides all done off camera. I'll come back and we'll do the top together. So I'll be right back. All right, I have this all painted around the sides, and I can go back and do more after this dries and I see how it looks. But for right now, I'm going to set it like that. And I've kind of mixed the colors together. The idea is here not to have, I've got a different sponge now, that's fine. Not to have a solid color on the end of your sponge, but kind of a marbly color. That way it doesn't come out solid. That way you get some variation in your color. It makes it look more like it's real. And it kind of disguises the top a little bit. It makes it look a little bit more realistic. If you get a spot too light, you can always go back with a darker color. I'm going to put something over the top of this, probably another empty plastic container. If I would have been thinking, I would have put the lid upside down and then I could have just put the container that goes with it on, but I didn't think that far in advance. I want that side over there just a little bit darker. So I'm going to let this dry and then we'll come back. I'll evaluate whether it needs more paint anywhere and then we can see how it looks. So I'll be right back. All right, my paint is dry and this looks like concrete or carved stone or whatever you want to imagine it to be. If you wanted to, you could put a clear coat of matte Mod Podge. I don't think I'm going to. I like the more rough texture. Be sure and check the blog post for photos, and I'll try and have a good photo of this staged so that you can look at it straight on like you would in a scene rather than me holding it here. This is kind of an awkward angle. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure and hit the like button and leave me a comment. What kinds of things would you like to see me make in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.